Welcome to Cocktail Hour. Welcome, listeners, to episode 36. Can you believe it? 36! I got crickets. Where are people?
Yeah. Wait, yeah. Like little violin-toting crickets. Hi, Andy. It's Liz.
And joining us for this show is Carsen Taite.
Hey, Andy.
Hey!
It's Carsen.
It's Carsen, and we can't even work a taint joke in there because it's Tate, not taint. Damn it.
Sorry.
Well, I know.
Doesn't that count?
Well, I'm going to sing it anyway. Tain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Okay, here we go. Ha ha! Oh, Lordy. Yeah, people are going to go, really? Really? Does she really have to sing? Oh, my God.
I had a book review, and the title was Tate Misbehavin'.
Nice. That's pretty good.
So you can do pretty much whatever you want.
Nice.
Yeehaw.
Well, Carsen recommended a drink, which, of course, Liz is enjoying. I am not. I'm having, what am I having? I'm having
I haven't started yet. I thought I'd give my live review.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, let me tell everybody what it is. It's the
Enjoy, actually.
It's the what? What was that?
I said I'm not sure Liz is going to enjoy it.
Oh yeah, because she got the medicinal. What the hell was it?
Vermouth.
Vermouth.
Scrooge
Yes.
drink? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, and you don't like bourbon either, do you?
Oh, God, no. I had to deal with it with MJ because she had the Southern erotica book, and so she wanted to do the mint julep.
I remember that.
Gads.
Yeah. So it's the Scofflaw. Is that how you say it?
Scofflaw.
The Scofflaw Cocktail. There's got to be some kind of story behind that one. But let me tell everybody what's in it. 2 ounces of bourbon whiskey or rye whiskey, which we got the whole bourbon and rye detailed information from Susan Maher a few shows back. So, listeners, if you didn't catch that one, go to catch it. I'm not going to explain it here. We just let Susan do it. Half ounce of dry vermouth, and if you leave the dry vermouth out, it will taste less medicinal, according to Carsen. Half ounce of lemon juice, a 1/4 ounce of grenadine, little orange bitters to taste, shake with ice, and then straight into a chilled cocktail glass. Now, we don't want Liz to wait any longer. I think, didn't Liz put some sugar on the rim, so she gave the glass a rim job?
Because I remember how disturbing bourbon was for my body. I was like, wow, mint julep strong. So I'm like, it's not only got more bourbon, but it has some other stuff in it. I squeezed some fresh lemon, to be all snappy and stuff, and then I sugared the rim.
You gave it a rim job.
I loved it up with some lemon and then sugared the rim because I'm like, maybe that'll help me choke through it.
Oh, God. All right, so take your sip.
All right. Oh, God awful.
Well, that's what I was aiming for. And I have achieved success.
Oh, God. Yes, you did, apparently. You're going for awful. I guess you got it. Now, I'm going to have to try this when I get back to drinking. That will be at the GCLS con.
I feel like I stole a drink over like a 90-year-old guy. Like, give me your beverage.
But you know what? It could be one of those that after the 4th or 5th sip, you start to like it.
I think
I'll start to be drunk after the 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
I think she just called me a 90-year-old guy. I'm just saying.
Oh, ouch.
But you're a hot 90-year-old. No, but with the bitters, it reminded me of my pop, who's actually nearly 90, and he used to have, bitters in his cabinet and whatnot. So when I saw that in the bourbon, I was like, Jesus.
But orange bitters or just, plain old bitter?
Bitters.
Yeah, that's the difference between the 90-year-old and the not 90-year-old.
See, it's the orange that makes you, hot to trot? Is that it?
Totally.
Well, you don't want any trotting on this show, just saying.
It's at least makes me fruity. How's that?
Oh, there you go. That'll work.
I'm always fruity.
Uh-oh. Oh, before we digress any further.
Well, I'm sorry. So, Liz, you just came back from New Orleans. What did you drink there?
I mostly had, hurricanes there, or I was drinking wine with dinner.
Gotcha.
Hurricanes are good.
Hurricanes are good.
Yes, they are mighty fine.
So just add a little extra grenadine to this drink and take out the vermouth, and it's almost like a hurricane.
All right, so what is do you know what the story is behind the name of this drink?
Well, I texted my pal Nell Stark, author, and she's quite the mixologist. And she actually took Colette Moody and I to this. She and Trinity Tam took Colette Moody and I to this bar in New York. It's like a secret bar. Like you go through this alley and there's a door. Yeah, it's this total speakeasy, and it's called Milk and Honey. Mm-hmm. And you think you might be tripping over a few dead bodies under old rugs or something, and then you see this door and it's got like a M and H on it from those metallic letters like you buy at the office supply store. Mm-hmm. And then you ring a little bell, and Trinity has a secret membership there. Mm-hmm. so anyway, you get in, and then there's these big velvet curtains and this cool, tiny little booths, and they just come and they ask you, like, what do you like and what don't you like, and here's some fresh fruits we have in season. Then they go off and make you a drink and name it.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, when I needed a drink for the show, I mean, I have a full bar here at the house, but I'm not a mixologist. I'm kind of what do you want? And here's a bunch of choices. Mm-hmm. So I sent a text to Nell and I said, what should I make? And this was one of her suggestions.
So it's really not yours, it's Nell's.
I have to give credit where credit's due. Yes.
Yeah. All right then. Well, that's good to know.
I've been to Nell's my partner and I went for Pride this year on Pride Sunday, and her kitchen definitely attests to the fact that she's a mixologist.
Yes.
There are varying sizes of mixing things and whatnot. It was cool.
Mixing
nice.
things.
Mixing things. All right.
Get the name of whatever for a little more. Anyway, back to books, huh?
So we're going to do a little plug for Carsen, for those of you that are not acquainted with Carsen, although Carsen is multimedia girl, so I don't know how anybody could have missed anything from Carsen. Quite frankly. You'd have to live under a damn rock not to know who Carsen is. But, I'm going to look on her. I'm going to read a little about me from Carsen's website, which is Carsen Taite, and that's CarsenTaite.com. And then you go to About, and here's what it says. And it looks like she keeps up with it, too. Carsen Taite works by day, and sometimes night, now I don't want to know about that, as a criminal defense attorney in Dallas, Texas. Her goal as an author is to spin plot lines as interesting as the cases she encounters in her practice. She is the author of 5 previously released novels, TrueLesbianLove.com, It Should Be a Crime, which is also a Lambda Literary Award finalist and recipient of a Lavender Certificate Award from the Alice B. Readers, Do Not Disturb, Nothing But the Truth, and The Best Defense. Her 6th novel, Slingshot, which, like some of her prior works, contains a heavy dose of crime, is scheduled to be released in June 2012. She is currently working on her 7th novel, Beyond Innocence, which is to be released in late 2012. So you can contact Carsen on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, and her email is Carsen, C-A-R-S-E-N, at CarsenTaite.com. Whew. I don't even think this is it. No. One of the things that I really enjoy about Carsen is that she has branched off and does these little video logs, and she has an account set up at YouTube, and you can go over there and check them out, and most of them are just really, really cool, I gotta say. So Carsen, we welcome you to the show. We're very happy you're with us.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
I drank every time you said Carsen.
We can have a drinking
this is
show.
A drinking game, right?
What inspired you to do these video logs? Just a new venue to get the word out, or just for large? I mean, what happened?
Yeah, so my wife says to me, her name's Lainey, she says, I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm watching YouTube. I'm like, well, why are you doing that? And she's like, there's all these videos and people post things and you can learn how to cook something or mix drinks or, whatever. And I'm like, well, okay, that just seems like, who would do that? I mean, so she's like, you should totally do this, about your books. and interview other authors and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, nobody's going to watch those. So I listened to her, which is always the smartest thing I ever do.
Uh-huh.
And, it's become hugely popular and a lot of fun. So the first time I just kind of babbled at the webcam, and the first few looked totally dumb. But then shortly after I started doing it, I was in Provincetown for Women's Week, and I just started stopping people on the street. And one of the first people I stopped was Allie Valley.
Aww.
And she can tell a story like nobody's business, either on paper or in person. So we just talked on camera, and I put that up, and just started doing it. Every time I go somewhere, I just kind of grab people and interview them.
Very nice.
And then I also do a weekly vlog at Women in Words, which has a nice group of authors that put out something every day.
Yeah, that's the one Andy Marquette's always posting.
Absolutely.
she's like she should go into PR.
She's a machine.
She is. I really like Andy. We've had her on the show a couple of times. She did a guest author spot twice, I think. She's a hoot. We really like Andy Marquette.
She could not be more supportive of all the other authors in the community. It's just, she's amazing.
She is. She really is. Okay, enough about Andy Marquette. We know she's fabulous. We're here for you, Carsen. It's your show, sister. Okay, so I have a confession to make. Do Not Disturb was the first book that I've ever read that you've done. Now, I know Liz has read several, but yeah, it's not the case with me. No.
Slacker.
Yeah. Well, there's so many authors out there. It's just I haven't gotten to everybody yet.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm. So you asked me a question off air. You want to ask it again?
Yes, I do. So Do Not Disturb was my third book. So what made you pick that one up first?
Because it had a rock star in hiding, and I really like Twilight, a book by Kim Pretekle, and it's about a rock star. And I really enjoyed that book, and I thought, after I read the different summaries of your different books, I thought, you know what, let me give that one a try. It doesn't have crime and mystery, and it's just, it sounds like it could be really cool. So that's why I picked your book, that book.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm not really big on, I'll read them, but crime stories aren't really my thing. It's kind of like I don't like prison stories, and anybody that's listening to this show for any length of time will tell you, I try to avoid prison stories like the Black Plague.
Well, prison's really kind of a creepy place.
Yeah. It's a place I don't want to visit. Just saying. Hey, Liz, you been there?
Yeah. There are lots of times for solicitation, drunk and disorderly.
Solicitation.
Yeah, I'm kind of ugly, so I need to pay for it, and
whatever.
Carsen,
just kidding. I'm married. We've been married for quite some time.
Carsen, you're a defense attorney, right?
I am.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Criminal?
Prison plenty of times.
All right. I would say. So criminal, yeah, right?
Yes.
So do you practice law in any other state but Texas?
I'm licensed in New Mexico, and I have practiced there, but it's been a number of years now.
Mm-hmm.
But I could help you out if you get caught there.
Well, if I get caught there, you're not going to help me in Florida.
I'll keep you in my speed dial just in case I get into trouble. Get into the pokey and all.
Good plan.
Okay, so who wants to do a little summary of Do Not Disturb? How about you, Carsen?
Sure, I'll do a summary of Do Not Disturb. So we have this rock star named Greer Davis, and she's kind of a bad girl, publicly anyway, or she's perceived that way. And she's trying to improve her publicity, but in the course of doing that, has something really catastrophic happen. And so she kind of ducks away and goes back to her roots to fade the heat for a while. The other main character's name is Ainsley Faraday, and as her name might suggest, she's a little uptight.
You know, Carson, the uptight girls in your stories tend to have French braids, like really tight French braids.
Yeah, but then they let them down.
I know, and then they have those really sweet waves.
Nice.
So Ainsley is, she specializes in opening sleek urban hotels, and she's been sent to Santa Fe, and she doesn't consider that very urban, to transition a mom and pop hotel into her company's sleek line. Mm-hmm. And they meet on the plane, and Ainsley at first does not know who Greer is, because Greer is in disguise, a poor disguise, but disguise nevertheless. And then they kind of have a sweet little time together, and then she finds out who she is, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, all hell broke loose earlier than that, sister.
Well,
hell was breaking loose very early on.
Okay, let me just say, obviously I am not a rock star, but I am a legend in my own mind.
Between the love interest breaks loose.
Yeah, okay.
Hell breaks loose at various times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, first of all, if my hotel room, my house, whatever, when I'm done, I'm like, people get the fuck out. I'm like, get the fuck out. It's kind of like when I end the show. Okay, it's time to go. Bye. It's like, get the fuck out. So, of course, Greer tripping over a dead body on her way to the bathroom? Hello. I'm thinking to myself, what that stupid ass? She didn't make sure everybody was out of her suite. I mean, where's the wallet? Where's the purse? I mean, come on now. You got to know where your shit is. Then you got to make sure everybody's out.
Including your friends.
I don't. Yeah, Rockstar's going to trust everybody that comes into place? Oh, I think not. So, of course, first of all, that jarred me, and I had to put the book down, because I'm thinking, what?
You didn't finish it, right?
No, I finished it. But I'm like, what? I had to stop for a minute, because, my whole thing going on with, everybody has to get out. I look under, when I have parties, when everybody leaves, I actually go room to room. I pull the shower curtain back. I make sure everybody's out of my house.
Truly. So is that like based on an experience where somebody didn't leave?
Nope. I just don't want anybody to pounce on me and scare the shit out of me when I'm sleeping.
Okay,
She goes around with a gun and a flashlight, making sure nobody's like lurking.
A baseball bat and a taser.
It's kind of figure, the drunken bacchanal. There's people laying around.
Oh, honey, I've been to drunken bacchanal. Oh, I can't talk about that. Anyway, but yeah, so that jarred me. So I had to put it down for a little while, and then I had to go back. And then I'm reading. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And then I was like, she did what? So I'm as demonstrative by myself as I am with other people in the room. I got the story on the iPad, and I'm reading, and I went, what? She just leaned over and kissed this woman in the first class seat? What the hell? I was like, no.
Like, this'll shut her up.
That's right. I'm thinking, honey, shut me up.
Ejected from the flight.
Oh, my God. And then you have, and then the flight attendant's like, we gotta get your number.
Y'all want some champagne to go with that tongue?
It was awesome.
You've never had anyone lean over and kiss you in first class?
Not a complete stranger.
Wow. Dude, it's fiction. It's romance. She's a rock star. She's kind of used to getting in people's personal space without,
Mm-hmm.
And kind of having it be something that is usually welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a challenge to kind of take, she's not a normal person. She doesn't have normal boundaries. Because I think that's part of a rock star persona. I mean, somebody who's like a mega star. Mm-hmm. And, I know because I have been one.
Before I was a defense attorney, I was a rocker.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cover.
I just choked on my own juices. Okay.
But, she is kind of living in a bubble. And, the book's kind of about her bubble bursting in a way.
And you would think the bursting would happen after the country darling Macy Rivers, ends up OD'd on coke, her first night tooting out with her friend, you think that would have been the, rock bottom. You got to realize this is something I need to get more serious about changing the way I am, but it didn't.
No, it didn't, but she's still in her bubble. I mean, she's completely protected from that whole situation. The first call she places is to her manager because she's used to, he runs her life. And so, that's instinctive to her to just turn to him to just deal with it. The book would have ended a little fast.
The fact that the cleaners got there so fast, I can't remember if it was the La Femme Nikita or some other film where, there was a crew of cleaners that would show up and fix a crime scene so that, all the evidence was gotten rid of.
Yeah, which is probably completely illegal.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
But, there wasn't a crime here. I mean, just to be clear, there was a crime. There were illegal drugs, yeah, but someone ODing, it's kind of Heath Ledger. Numerous people make a to, do things that doesn't, Greer didn't commit a crime other than having the drugs herself. But she didn't kill Macy, just to be clear.
Yeah, and her crime was she didn't tell people to get the fuck out when she wanted to go to bed.
Well, I think, the shortfall, at least in that particular situation for Greer, was that she was not monitoring Macy. She didn't feel that was her job, even though they were friends. But, if you're introducing somebody to coke and they start to get a little off base and continue to take it, you should know enough to be like, you need to step away from the toot. You need to step away from those glasses and, bring it underneath. That's why I guess that was, her bubble. She doesn't need to look after anybody else other than herself,
Yeah, and I'm not sure she looks after herself all that well, but yeah, you're right. She's, I didn't make her out to be a nice person to start out with. I just chose not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But she had absentee parents, but she had stand-in family that tried to inculcate her and having responsibility and taking responsibility. And she actually worked at the hotel, the Lancer Hotel for, before she, made it big.
Yeah.
But I guess after...
she was 21 when she made it big.
Yeah. I guess you just...
young.
You just let the fame go to your head.
Yeah, she did. She did, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
As you get towards the end of the book, you find out that she kind of put her trust in the wrong person, including the one that she chose to be her manager. And it's her Uncle Clayton who pretty much says, this person's a scumbag. They have orchestrated for you to be caught and seen again because all publicity is good publicity. And then one of the saving graces for Greer is that she steps away from that and starts making her own decisions and being in charge of her own production company rather than, passing all kinds of responsibility off to other people than herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's not the first 21-year-old to, her uncle told her when she was 21, maybe you should interview some other people. But, this guy, Rick, was the first person who discovered her, and she, like many young people, she felt kind of obligated to him, felt like if I don't take this chance, I'm not going to have another. So she blew off what her pseudo parent had to say, and I'm sure she's not the first 21-year-old to.
Well, no, I get the whole Rick discovered her and being loyal to him to a certain point, but I think she kind of checked out of her own life and handed off all responsibility onto others.
I think you're absolutely right.
In some respects that sounds very enticing. In other ways, it sounds frightening as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does sound frightening as hell if you know that it's frightening. If you don't know any different, you're in the bubble. You don't know any different. So until something happens where you're on your own, and once she's on her own for a little bit, then she starts to realize, oh, maybe the people who are making decisions for me aren't making them all in my best interest.
Yeah.
So, I took a risk. I made a character who started out to be pretty unlikable, I think, and tried to redeem her. And, I had fun with it. I mean, I enjoyed the character. I enjoyed her journey. Like her or not, I think she did make a journey, and I think she, like Liz said, I mean, she came to realize she's got to change her life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The thing is, I didn't find Greer unlikable. I found Ainsley unlikable. Maybe it's, just growing up corn-fed on all this Hollywood news kind of stuff, but, Greer, may have been irresponsible, but she was not a jerk. Like, she seemed to have an honest friendship with Macy. She's like, come on, let's do this in my room so that nobody sees you, try and, whatnot. But I didn't say anything like she's awful. I think maybe not self-actualized, maybe, somewhat in the bubble, but I didn't feel like she was one of those awful rock star people who, are so self-involved that, they have no sense of anything. But Ainsley just seemed, really snobbish about what a destination should be, because she's in charge of the Steele hotels. Is that what they were? And she would be going to different sites and updating different hotels to make them in line with the corporation that she worked on. And it seemed like she was really hardline, not really compassionate, very, full of herself and believing that her way is the highway. And I felt like that she became more likable. It took her a longer time, from my perspective, to get likable than it did for Greer to.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I agree with you. I mean, she is kind of an uptight bitch. She is. I mean, the way she interacts with her employees, the way she interacts with Greer's cousin Drew, who is managing the hotel that she's taking over in Santa Fe. And the way she deals with Santa Fe. I mean, I lived in Santa Fe for a number of years, and it's a very different place. I moved there from Dallas, and I was just constantly amazed by Santa Fe time. It's just a completely different schedule than anywhere else.
Really?
Call someone to come, fix something at your house, and they may come 3 days later after they said they were going to come.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just a very different mentality. It's called the city different for a reason. It's a great, fantastic place, but if you're not used to it, it can seem backward.
Huh.
I just came back from New Orleans, and we went to 2 different fine dining restaurants, and one of the hugest differences that I noticed is it wasn't like a tightly oiled machine that you go through your courses and then they expect you to leave,
Oh, is it a get the fuck out moment?
No, I mean, they don't, it's not quite like that, but you get in the atmosphere in New York City or another,
exactly.
Yankee cities, and there's this very awareness of time, like this is when this is going to happen, and this is the progression, and it's like, a finely oiled machine, and, somebody will come and like obsequiously ask you, would you like anything else? Which is, can you leave so I can put somebody else at your table? And when we went to the Commander's Palace, like it was completely not that. Like they were happy to have you in, they like seat you, and things ease by, and there's no can we move this along kind of thing happening. So it was definitely, to me, Southern time as opposed to like chop chop.
Mm-hmm.
Definite difference. And Ainsley, I took 2 characters and I started them out kind of, they have major flaws, and I wanted to make them redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's whether or not I achieve that or not is for every reader to judge, but that was kind of the challenge to me when I started the book. I meant for them to be flawed.
Yeah. Well, Liz, you still there?
Yeah, I am. I said, what took so long for the resolution of their differences? Because it took about 100 pages for them to finally, get together. In the end, like there was a point where she found out where who Greer was, and Greer tried to like come in and hat in hand, and it was about 100 more pages before they actually got together. There was a lot of starts and stops, a lot of time between interactions, so that was a little different. Why did you decide to do that in that way?
I don't think either one of them was really ready. I mean, it's kind of a 360 for Greer to 180, 360. I'm not real good with math.
That's awesome.
So she was facing the wall.
Just twirl around, and I'll tell you when to stop.
I think you're looking for a 180.
I'm going to go make
on the plot line.
So, it was a big turnaround for Greer to, Ainsley finds out who she is. To me, I couldn't make it magically, okay, well, that's all right, and I accept that. I mean, she feels kind of burned by thinking she likes someone who isn't who she thought she was. And I just felt like that needed more time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
And she spent a little more time figuring out, even though there was the false name, which I thought was really funny. They meet on a plane, and she's trying to think of an alias, and she's like, what's your name? My name is Trey Trey Carter. That's my name.
I'm glad you like that.
At least you didn't say.
Like looking around, like.
What would your name be right now?
I don't know.
Dildo Baggins. Oh!
Yikes.
Love it.
I have, a question about like your other novels. Actually,
Okay.
I did read all of them that that are published.
I love you for that.
Aww.
I know. Yeah, I'm that kind of girl. I'll read all your stuff.
All or nothing.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
So what I noticed, which was different with you, and I've only experienced it once before with Jane Fletcher, is that you had somewhat related books like True Lesbian Love, It Should Be a Crime, and The Best Defense, where you have some characters that follow through, either like ghosting in for a second before you get to know like the two main interests. How did that develop for you?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting question. There are a lot of lesbians in Dallas, like scads of them.
What?
Yeah, I mean, Dallas has a huge, huge GLBT community.
I'll be there in 2 years, so.
She's in a rush, so she'll be there in 2 years.
I'm on Santa Fe time.
2 years. But even though it's huge, I mean, we don't all know each other, but people tend to run in. I mean, it's not abnormal for you to run into the same people a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So when I wrote TrueLesbianLove.com, my first novel, I started with this group of friends, and I don't know, I kind of always in my head, you always want to give more life to some of your secondary characters, but you try to balance that so you don't take away from the story of the main characters. And Amy just intrigued me, and she, so I carried her over from that novel to It Should Be a Crime, but, it still didn't work out for her there.
I know, it was a vignette. It was like, and guest role for this episode will be Amy.
Amy.
Amy is going to go on a date with Morgan, who she thinks is hot and just right for her, but Parker's over in the corner giving her evil eyes, like, woman, step away from the Morgan Bradley, or you're going to get hurt.
Well, fortunately, it doesn't sound like Matlock. That's good.
But I noticed Amy was the one, like in all three, that she kind of, kept on coming. What I found, what I was surprised at big time with The Best Defense was Skye coming in as the counterpoint to Amy, because Skye seemed like such a scumbag. She was Parker Casey's. They're both detectives, and they were lovers, and she totally shafted her lover in support of being with the other cops, the blue line kind of thing, and totally left her swinging in the wind. So I found her to be extremely unlikable. And it took a lot for me to actually find out that she could be likable, and it was because you got more background of who she is, and also how a mentor in the Force had told her how to cut all the corners. It was not just her nature to be a cowboy or careless or, just a means to an end kind of girl, to actually kind of seeing where she is in the scheme of things, and over feeling that, Amy is out of her league. Which Amy doesn't feel the same way, but I could see how that floated in several times in The Best Defense, where these other secondary characters would come in and show interest in Amy, and Skye would get all jealous. And part of the jealousy was, the line between who she thought she was, like blue collar, and Amy socialite. Like, they would never be a match.
Well, you've got my secret. I like to take people who are flawed and try and make them better. It's my healing properties.
Nice.
Do you have like a purple stone with you, like amethyst heal this cop?
No. Well, it was funny because when I wrote It Should Be a Crime, I gave Skye more page time than wound up in the book.
Oh.
And I talked to my editor about it for a while, and the way I had done it kind of took away from Parker. And she said, "You're obviously very interested in this character, but we discussed it, and the way I was, the time I was giving her was really taking away from the story between Parker and Morgan. So I shelved a lot of that, but then I already knew that I wanted to write a book about her. So she intrigued me, and then Amy, poor Amy, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. So I thought, what better couple than these two unlikely characters? So I thought, well, that's how the premise of The Best Defense started. I thought, well, let's put Skye and Amy together and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. And what I thought was interesting, because Skye, had boatload of chips on her shoulder about like the socialite, and I'm not going to give you any afternoon delight, I'm not going to be your slumming moment, I'm not going to be there for you. By the way, as a side note, like you've mentioned afternoon delight in more than one of your books, and I was like, and the song goes off in my head, afternoon delight, and it was funny.
Say it again. I'm drinking every time you say it.
That's not right.
Afternoon delight, afternoon delight, afternoon delight.
All right. We want her to be cogent.
I heard it was in Good Will Hunting when he was, with the psychiatrist, and he starts telling the story, and he's talking the lyrics of that song. And then eventually he starts to sing it because he's messing with the psychiatrist at the time. So, like, reading it twice in two different novels, kind of like...
I guess I'm how old I am now. That song was my high school or junior high even.
No. I hated that song from the moment I heard it.
It is kind of lame, but it sticks
really is bad. My ex-girlfriend loved that damn song. Oh my God.
That's why you left her.
I'm like, sister, if you want some, turn the fucking song off, okay? Anyway, so back to Do Not Disturb, because I don't have a point of reference to talk about the other ones. What inspired you to write that particular story, Carsen? Was it Heath Ledger dying? Was it? I mean,
it was not too far from that time, and it was. I can't even really tell you what the actual inspiration was. I do, I'll say it was as simple as being inspired by some current events like Heath Ledger dying, and also just wanting to write a book that was set in Santa Fe because I love it there.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived there for a while, and I was going back for my 10-year law school reunion, and so I actually went back and drove the drive that when she goes to Taos and the Rio Grande Gorge Bridge, and I actually filmed a vlog there at the gorge, and it's pretty amazing. If you've never been there, check it out. And went to Zozobra and all that stuff. So it's an excuse to go back check everything out again.
Nice.
This Zobra thing, the reaction that Greer had when they're, the Bible thumpers kind of looming in their dark outfits and making her feel like, having scary deja vu. What I thought was interesting and was how it, translated into the intimate relations between her and Ainsley, and how even though at the time Ainsley, felt the aggression was hot, in the morning she felt like, I could have been anybody. And Greer was just trying to exercise that feeling of helplessness by being excessively toppy with her. And what I thought was kind of funny.
Toppy.
Yeah.
You're killing me, sister.
But there was a quote that I kind of put down. Several times she started to leave the room, but she knew if she left before Ainsley returned, she would never see her again. And she said that she was remembering what happened the night before in, like, grainy porn shots, which kind of made me giggle. I was like, okay.
Yeah, some things make me giggle when I reread them, too. That whole... the first time I went and saw Zozobra, I remember walking down from the hill where it takes place and walking back into town with a big group of friends, and we're all, hey, that was fun, and kind of creepy. It is kind of creepy. But then walked into this big bunch of crazy picketer people who were like telling us we were going to hell because we'd just gone to see Zozobra.
Really?
Yeah. And so that's like a regular thing, those protesters there. Because, it's a pagan festival and all that. It's just something that started in somebody's backyard. It's not associated with any religion. It was just some people got together and decided, wouldn't this be cool to burn this guy? Then it just turned into a big thing.
That would be awesome. We could all sit around and smoke.
Exactly.
Not right.
I was so there with you, and the sound effects were amazing.
Okay, just make sure you pour a little on the ground for your homies. Macy, here you go.
And now I think it's
oh
like
my God.
club fundraiser, So.
God.
So I had a Pawn Stars moment when you were talking about Greer being in her old bedroom and finding Betty her first guitar. And she's talking about how she had worked double shifts and was saving up money to get her own guitar. And then she went to a flea market kind of thing with her cousin, and then saw a guitar that she wouldn't be able to buy even if she was doing double shifts for many, many years. And the guy who was selling it said, why don't you give it a try? And he gave it to her, for what she had saved. And I thought it was interesting that connection that she had to that guitar, showed up in the end when she was coming into the self that she had once been. That honesty, that connection with her songwriting and whatnot. It was connected with that particular guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I put that guitar in there. I want obviously it's a big symbol. Literary device.
English teachers would be so happy with you. Look, it's a symbol.
So then I'm like, I know nothing about guitars. Like, zip. Like,
I was wondering how you decided that was the guitar.
So I emailed J.D. Glass, and who's in a band, and I'm sure y'all are familiar with J.D. Glass, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I emailed her, and I said, okay, here's the deal. I got this, she's going to be in high school, and she's only going to have this amount of money, and she needs to buy a guitar, but it needs to be, like, worth more than, I gave her, like...
You gave her parameters.
All the parameters, and then she wrote me back just pages, well, this is the guitar I'd recommend, and here, and this is... I mean, she even went down to the detail of, over the years, if it hadn't been played or touched, what kind of care would it need, and what kind of condition would it be in, and then we had, I save all those kind of research emails. I have, like, every email we exchanged back and forth, and there were many where I'd go, okay, but what about this? And what if I do this?
I thought it was cool. It made me think of, like, Pawn Stars who, like, oh, this is a cool guitar, but I have to bring in an expert. And, like, the expert guy comes and he looks at it. And I was just like, oh, okay.
I love those shows.
I do too. I really, I really love watching, either Pawn Stars or, Auction Hunters and all those different, finding, the jewel in the rough kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Okay, should we play the game?
Who would you fuck?
Yes. Who would you fuck? Carsen played a version of this game at Gabriel's in October.
Yeah, who was I stuck with? It was bad.
It was rough, sister. I just remember walking away going, I don't know how she pulled that off.
I think I blocked it from my mind.
Oh, God.
It was like Mary Cheney and, it was a scary group.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, Chaz Bono. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're getting recall here.
Yeah, I am. Mm-hmm. And eventually I'll recall the third name, but yeah. I think I married Chaz.
It would be better than Cheney.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that evil fuck for his father-in-law?
No, yeah, I think there was a kill there. The third one was, but by default I screwed them.
we don't play killing.
Apart from like usual, who would you fuck? And I'd say who I'd have a threesome with, and that would be Mac and Jordan from TrueLesbianLove.com.
All right, now.
Love them.
Oh God, you kidding me?
They're still my favorite couple.
Yeah, I like Mac a lot, and I also like the Jordan. I thought it would, so Andy, you haven't read it, but the storyline is these two people, Mac and Jordan, have been friends for a really long time. Jordan's this huge player, Mac is not. They would go out on doubles, but, Mac would always go home alone, and Jordan would always sow her wild oats. And I thought it was an interesting spin for the reason why Jordan had all these superficial relationships, the fuck and run kind of thing, because her heart, her heart was being supported by Mac. She had that platonic thing, everything but the sex, really close relationship with Mac. So she wasn't looking for anybody else. And so I like that they got together, and it took them a while to figure out what I thought was kind of slightly implausible that it would after all those years, it was just the particular moment when you started the novel that they started to get little twinges about each other. But
well, usually familiarity breeds contempt. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but there is and I don't know if I remember because it's been a while since I wrote it. but I'm going to make this up and hope it's still in the book.
Oh no.
There is an allusion to when they were younger, that
when they kissed.
Yeah, and it maybe thought it was the drunk, young youth that caused them to kiss, and they just kind of blown it off. But yeah, I tried to slip in a little something there.
Did you ever watch Queer as Folk?
Yeah.
It reminded me of
Michael and Brian.
Except
I don't think there was as much of a power.
No, not the power differential part.
Right.
But they had a moment when they were teenagers, and obviously it's not the same dynamic, and Brian's a megalomaniac, and a lot of other things. But the connection between having a moment as teenagers, and I thought it was kind of sweet that they ended up getting together, because as much as it's fun to sleep around, it does get old after a certain point for most people, and at least Jordan was able to, find somebody to help her be more whole, I guess.
Yeah, and it is kind of nice to have your partner be your best friend. Mm-hmm. I think there's an added value.
Added value.
Value added. That's how in Europe, how they refer to, tips being included in the price of whatever you're buying. That's why Europeans, when they come over here, may forget to tip, because the tip is already incorporated within the price or something, and it's called value added.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Mac and Jordan got value added.
That's awesome.
They were a 2-for-1 store, friendship and love.
Okay, so let's pull this back around. It's like corralling roaches. Let's pull this back around.
I am not.
I'm just saying. I'm not. No. Okay. Let's forget. Like I said that. Forget. Okay. All right. We're back to who would you fuck?
So we're stuck with.
You're not stuck with anybody, but I mean, I can only come from the direction of this particular book.
Right.
But I mean, you guys can go off on a tangent.
Well, I'll limit to this book just because I don't want you to feel left out, Andy.
Aw, you're so good to me.
So how about you, Andy?
Well, I would have a comfort
to take over being host.
I would have a comfort zone fucking Ainsley. Faraday, because that was my ex-girlfriend.
Ainsley Faraday.
Yeah, that was my ex.
Keyword ex.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's probably who I would fuck you.
I was just thinking that I'd like to flip Drew over. I think that might be fun.
Yeah, Drew's. I like Drew. Drew might have her own story someday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to see her, go from fire in her eyes, like I want to kill Greer, to hey. Yeah,
bring that passion to the bedroom. Is that what you're saying?
No, she seems like wound so tight in a completely different reason than Ainsley, and it has a lot to do with what's going on in her world. But I'd like to see, her moral compass kind of, like how she sees the world and what kind of person that she'd end up with, or even somebody that she'd take home for like a one-night stand. Both says something about an individual, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Mm.
So what was yours, Carsen, out of the characters in Do Not Disturb?
Well, there was this character, I don't know if you remember that. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm making her up right now.
Do not say Macy. Do not say Macy.
No, I find something attractive about Ainsley. So, there's something about, undoing that braid and,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think there's somebody's braid you like to undo, and that shows up in your books. And then I undid her braid.
I did. Yes, Dr. Freud.
Oh, Lordy. That ain't right.
It's all about the braid.
Or you can use it.
Never, ever including a braid again. In fact, in the work in progress I have, I'm going to double check for braids.
And afternoon delight.
I'm not promising that one.
No, the thing is, like, I tell Andy, and also, like, sometimes other authors, when I send them emails about things that I pick up on really weird things that are repeated in different novels, and those were the two things that I held on to. It was the braid and the afternoon delight.
Those are my trademarks.
You sing it while you tussling up your red wig.
Oh my God! Now I'm going to always associate you with that song. Now that's not right, Carsen. That's not right. That's not right. I can't even sing that one for this show. Oh, God. Well,
there's this one author who I won't tell you who. Whenever the two lovers are kissing, their lips mold together, and I'm like, that's just okay. And it shows up like in 8 books, and I'm like, all right.
Well, it's interesting. It's kind of hard to catch those things when you do them. It's like little things you say, like, dude. But it is interesting that sometimes it's just part of who you are as a writer, and it comes through in your work in a bizarre way of repetition. So yeah, now I'm never going to write it again, though, ever.
Or another, somebody's in the shower and the water is sluicing over their body. And like,
exactly.
Okay, sluicing. Okay, that's the 10th sluicing book that we've had.
Exactly.
No,
I catch those things too, just obviously not in my own work.
No, I mean, it's hard to see it in your own work, but because if I like an author, I read all their stuff. So because I do that, and even more than that, I often reread things. So it's almost studious in some ways, like as if you're studying the particular author. if you've read their stuff enough, and then you start to pick up on certain patterns.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. So, did you want to talk about...
Skyrockets in flight.
Oh, God, no. Did you...
I poisoned the entire interview.
Oh, that's not right. Oh, Lordy. When is your next book coming out?
My next book, I'm very excited about my next book. It's a departure for me.
No breaks, no afternoon delight.
No afternoon delight. Well, it's still in the hopper, so
there might be a neuter here and there.
Or put them in, whatever. It's called Slingshot, and it is about a bounty hunter. It's the first of a series of books. There'll probably be 3 books total.
Sweet.
And it's written in the first person. And
that's hard to do well. That's hard. Was that for you to figure out how to get the perspectives of other people who are in the novel, aside from the viewpoint character?
Yeah, it was very difficult because you're stuck with whatever happens wherever that character is and can see. And but I'm really excited about this character. I really like her a lot. If you want a sneak peek of her, I have a story. Her name's Luca Bennett, and the story is called Boomerang, and it's in Women of the Mean Streets, which came out.
To get that. Yeah.
And so I wrote that short story, and as I was writing it, I really liked the character, and I thought, well, you know what, I want to do a series with this character, so I am.
What made you decide to do a series? Because you've written several books, but you've never written a series before.
I have J.M. Redman envy.
So it's bounty hunter instead of a PI, and it's in first person, like Gene.
No, I could never ever be Gene Redman, but I've always wanted to write a book, a series like that, and it's just something.
A title, Being Gene Redman.
Being Gene Redman. That's going to be my next blog. Just gonna. I'll actually see her in a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll incorporate her into my movie, Being Gene Redman. We
had her on the show a few months ago, and we were privileged to be called a bitch by her, so we were really happy.
Yes. I listened to it. That was crazy.
It was a great show.
Bitch.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Tell me anything she wants. She's my hero.
She's awesome.
She's totally awesome. Mm-hmm. So that book comes out Slingshot comes out in June.
Nice.
And Beyond Innocence comes out in November. Mm-hmm. And I'm writing that right now. I'm almost done. And it's about a prosecutor who's gotten into trouble because she's a scofflaw, hence the name of the drink.
Scofflaw.
Thanks for putting that in, Carsen.
And she winds up having to do penance at a Innocence Project type clinic. They represent people on death penalty appeals. Mm. And the love interest is the sister of a gentleman who is on death row. Mm. Hmm. So there, it's fraught with peril and difficulty.
Now, see, I don't know, I might read that.
Well, I might finish it. Due out in November, so truth.
I'll put it on my list.
I forgot about to mention Nothing But the Truth. That to me is a departure from some of the things that you've put out. And one of the braided character, the French braided character, was wound real tight, and she was a prosecutor, and her life was her job. And whenever she felt the urge, she would go to these illicit parties where there'd be lady and men of the night there to please you. And I thought that was like an interesting kind of thing, for her to be that. I'm going to, obey the laws. I'm going to prosecute people. But at night, if I get the urge, I'm going to go to one of these parties.
Yeah. You can't obey the law all the time. Mm-mm. It's just not fun, and
it's just not fun.
And it's not.
Is that your defense attorney? Obeying the law is so not fun. I'm going to be a defense attorney to help these people out.
Smart.
That novel actually, the storyline was based on something that actually happened to me. So I would have been in the role of the other character, Brett, who was the defense attorney. I was kind of, so anyway, I'll just drop it there, but yeah.
And it dropped like a stone.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that storyline in a not as crazy ending way actually happened to me, and I wound up having to testify at a trial for the state in a murder case.
Wow.
Which was very interesting and horrifying.
But your client kind of snookered you?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, that
well,
sucks.
It wasn't even my client. It was this total strange. I mean, it was like a false identity thing. So it was very, very bizarre.
Huh.
And the minute it happened, I thought, God, I've got to write a book about that.
And which book is this?
Nothing But the Truth.
Oh, I might have to read that now.
Oh no, Andy! Look at you. You're crossing over.
Well, if you didn't make it sound so damn appealing. Damn authors.
God, your books are so damn appealing. God damn you. I have to open my purse and read your stuff.
Wait, you have a purse? Hold on now. You got a purse? Did I hear that right? Okay, never mind.
Sometimes I carry a purse. What about you, Carsen?
I don't even know her personally, but I bet she has several purses. And shoes to match.
Oh, hell no.
Ugh, no.
No purses.
No, I do drag for my partner. Like, I'll dress up like a girl for her. That's pretty much it. I don't mind. It's like dress up to me. It's like the land of make-believe, and she wants me in the land of make-believe as a femme, even though that's not how I identify. I'm like, whatever works for you, honey. I'll dress up every once in a while for you. But I had very comfortable heels that I wore during the break. But the thing that really got me was that she had on the cowboy boots that she wore for our wedding. And she was the one who was bitching about her heels.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
She got, like, blisters and was complaining about some of the walking we had to do. I'm like, you're the one who should have been wearing it around the house to, like, break it in. Don't say we can't walk through the French Quarter because your feet hurt, you know.
That's too funny.
But I love flipping the script, you know. It was definitely, yeah.
Well, Carsen, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
It was fun, wasn't it? Now, you can stick around if you want. We're going to do a very, very short discussion on Nipple, the Nipple series. Oh, my God. Yeah, I forgot about this piece of fan fiction. I read it several years ago. It was penned by Archaeobard, who is Katya Davis. And I think there are five little short stories. I think they're like 2 pages each. They're really tiny. And it's called, it's a Xena Gabrielle fanfic. And the series is called Nipple, Nipple 2, The Re-Erection, Nipple 3, Twin Peaks, Nipple 4, Therein Lies the Nub, and then Nipple 5, The Second Coming.
The author in the notes said that originally she was having a hard time being inspired to write things. She was, having writer's block, and she was talking to other friends, and she was like, desperate, for some inspiration, and like her friend gave her the word nipple, and she decided to make the story like the 5 different parts. And what I find interesting about the story itself is the Gabrielle character, who's a bard, is I don't know how she seems innocently talking about, the word nipple and how to incorporate it into a story, and it's making Xena squirm, and, she's just so like, what? You're staring at my chest? Why? I don't understand. I'm just talking about nipples. It's just a story. And as the different segments go on, it goes from Gabrielle being kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. We're just having a conversation here, to the point where she is kind of squirming because Xena's decided to take a more active part in the story, and then eventually does this really hot scene in the end where they're in a tavern. and eventually have sex on a tavern table. I just like, thank you very much.
Oh God! If you would like to read it, you can actually find it at the Athenaeum. I didn't check the Academy of Bards, but it might be there as well. Just look for either Archeo Bard or Katia Davis for those of you interested in reading it. But it was very cute. It was very lighthearted, very cute.
It was, and then one of the things that I liked about it, it was not simply, the stories that she wrote. She has these little comments afterward, like, I'm a tease, so I won't give you a sex scene, just for the heck of it. And so there's no scene until towards the end of the series. And, like, she plays coy and has all these different, little, giggle-worthy comments. So it's basically tongue-in-cheek. She's doing it, for comic value and also kind of thumbing her nose at the different paradigms, especially for, like, the interactions between Xena and Gabrielle.
Mm-hmm. It's worth reading. It's really cute. It's lighthearted. Put a smile on your face. So read it. Maybe one day we'll get Katia to come on and talk about it because it was really cute. It really was.
It was cute, and actually reading it, because like when you told me nipple is the title, I'm like, oh God, how long can they go for something like this, and a series of 5? And so she felt as she went from story to story that she's stuck with this whole nipple title, and she like apologizes to her readers about like the continual nipple playing on kind of thing like that. And there wasn't a lot of nipple play actually in the sex scenes, which is interestingly ironic. Mm-hmm. But after reading it, I was like, I want to read her other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You can't get too much nipple.
Like that was very weighty. You can't get too much.
Nice.
Nipple.
Back to my literary roots.
No, that was like William Shatner.
Oh yeah, that was a little William Shatner. That's awesome.
You're like, you cannot get too much nipple.
Too much emoting. Oh, Lordy, this has been a really... Oh, my God. This has been a really fun show, you guys.
Y'all rock.
Y'all rock.
You guys rock. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And, I want to check out the nipple action there, sister.
Oh, I'm over it. I'm doing it right now.
I went through them, and I was like, I called Andy, I was like, wait, it was that quick? Like, I got through all of them in about a half hour, 45 minutes. I was like, hold the press. This really went too fast.
You want some more? Oh, God. Well, Katia Davis did a lot of other stories, so that's the good news. If you enjoy her writing style, there's a lot more out there to read.
Yes, she does have a lot of stories on here. So
yeah, she does.
It was awesome. I definitely recommend it. And, if you have a partner, you could always read it aloud,
Sure, reenact.
Reenact.
If you got a kitchen table,
Oh, yeah, that would be hot.
We have a tavern.
Take a second to, like, understand exactly where the size of the table, because when they first started having sex on it, I'm imagining, like, small tables in, like, a tavern, and apparently it's big enough for Xena to, crawl up on top of her and be a strider, and I'm like, will it tip over? Practical problems.
Oh, that's not right. You should have been thinking about the people that are watching, in the tavern.
That was also funny because, like, I was like, seriously? They're not going to watch you guys fucking and publicly first, mutual exploration manually, and then, and so I was like, I don't believe everybody isn't going to be watching.
Yeah, right.
I don't care how badass Xena is.
They're gonna be sneaking a peek. But along with that, did I hear Carsen say she has a tavern table at home?
Yeah, but I was lying.
Oh.
Lying on top of it with my wife.
I thought it would be a cool thing to say. And, if you're worried about people watching and all that, then you're just not really into it.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Sex is obviously better with people watching. Just saying. It adds that little oomph that you're missing with that one-on-one action.
Uh-huh. Sure. Well, I mean, the verbal foreplay that was happening between the characters and during, like, the 5 little vignettes, it was the fact that there were people around and they were talking about having sex publicly before they actually did. And, it was the titillation factor, and nipple that got them.
Oh, that was good, Liz.
Did you say nippleation factor?
The nippleation, yeah.
What, shaking titillation factor? Shake one tittle.
Oh, my God.
And I didn't even finish my drink. My drink is upstairs because I had to change.
You abandoned it because you hated it.
Oh my God, it was awful. It was awful.
Skip the vermouth and add more grenadine. It'll be like a hurricane.
Yeah, I'm just not a bourbon girl.
All right, rum instead, and you'll be fine.
Ilya's a rum person. A lot of butches make fun of her because she doesn't like beer and she drinks mostly fruity drinks. But she's got a cute excuse. She's Puerto Rican. Fruity drinks is the way to go. But I love me some beer, and I will drink different types of cocktails and stuff like that. But bourbon is, it just puts hair on your chest, and that's not attractive. And I don't want to have to shave there.
Oh, God. I just got a visual. Nipples, breasts, and the hair in the middle. No. No.
I have a way to tie this in. That's that cool.
Oh my hell! You had to bring that up.
Cool is hella hot.
I think my nipples just got hard. What the hell? You had to bring that up.
And the suction factor.
Oh my God. Carsen, do you know what we speak?
What's only different?
Hold on, Carsen. Do you know of what we speak?
No, you're just talking another language.
I know, right? Winter Pennington put out a book, Darkness Embraced.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. You got to read that. Mm-hmm.
We don't want to tell you anything else because one of the thrilling factors of it is the unexpected nature.
Yes. The shock of...
The shock value.
The shock and awe.
Shock and awe, yeah.
Winter, if you're listening, we're plugging your book, sister.
Plug away.
That wasn't her first book, was it?
No,
that was, I think, her third.
Right, because I've read her other books. I just haven't gotten to that one yet.
So different from her other books. Like, hugely different.
Yep.
I have to say Darkness Embrace is my absolute favorite one that she's written. And, I've seen her mature as a writer, and she's amazing, and she can only go up from here, know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally ditching y'all to go read it now.
I don't blame you. I'm going to ditch y'all to go read it again too.
Books from other authors, I think.
What?
Bold Strokes Books sends to their different people some books that are coming out or whatever. I know.
Yeah, I've got all the Bold Strokes books on my iPad, and that's kind of a neat perk.
Yeah, that is nice. That is definitely nice. Okay, well, I know I said it before a couple of times, but thank you again, Carsen, for coming on. This was a lot of damn fun.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Are we going to see you at GCLS?
It's in June, right?
Yep.
No, I cannot make it this year. It's at the same time. The last couple of years, it's been at the same time as a different conference that I have to go to. So for my day job, I wound up being a speaker. But hopefully in the future, it will be scheduled at a time that I can do it. Maybe next year.
Maybe. It'll be nice to see you.
Absolutely. I'd love to be there.
All right. Well, keep the peace, sister. Keep writing.
I will. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Liz, wasn't that a lot of fun?
That was so much fun. I really enjoyed the tangents as much as the direct questions.
I mean, I knew Carsen was going to be a fabulous guest when I watched her live and in person when I was at one of the readings in Provincetown this past year. Mm-hmm. So I had to get her on as a guest. Just had to, because I knew she'd be a barrel of laughs.
She's a hoot.
She's a hoot. Listeners, just a little reminder, you can buy Carsen's stuff at boldstrokesbooks.com. And I'm sure she would appreciate the monetary, windfall. And I know from Susan's show that authors really, really appreciate feedback. And, our market, our niche market has a lot of authors that are very responsive and very appreciative. So, drop them a little email on Facebook or post on their wall or send them a private email. But, please let them know how much you enjoyed their stories. And they Make them feel good. Just saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, from my perspective, it took a lot of time for me to get up the guts to actually write to some of the writers that I enjoyed. You know, trembling as I reread the message to make sure like the tone is okay and, you know, that it sounds okay. And I'm pretty, you know, ballsy in my regular life. So I know even if you're kind of shy, you know, the authors are not making billions of dollars, but, you know, it makes them feel real good if you get back to them and, you know, give them your feedback and also say, you know, the things that you love and the things that you don't love, because that's the only way that they'll improve and you really will have an impact on that person and the future books that they will publish.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you, Liz, for this evening. I really enjoyed it, and you're a fabulous co-host, as usual.
You rock.
Aw, no you.
Noogie.
All right. Well, good night, all.
Night.